All right, we are on day 58. It's February 27th. It's Exodus 25, 26, and Second Thessalonians chapter 3, which is pretty cool. 25 and 26 is one of those sections of scripture that some people just kind of get a little glassy-eyed while they're reading sometimes, or just it takes some engineering or architecture. You gotta have that mind. It's like, okay, we're talking about how they built things and put things together, but the tabernacle, one of the most amazing designs, all there in scripture, and all of it points to Jesus. And I think if the more we look into how it points to him, the more fun it is to read about. Um, it's one of those things, but it's God's dwelling place among his people. All the stuff that he showed Moses was a pattern of things that he was showing him. It implies there's something about heaven in the spiritual world that is captured in this physical, man-made tent, basically, structure. And I've been to one of these models laid out in Israel, and it's amazing. You walk around and see how they put it together and everything, and how Christ himself tabernacles with us. You have the courtyard, you have the building structure, all of it. Then the tapestries, the goat's hair, the ram skin, the porpoise skins, all of that goes together. All those four different layers over the whole tabernacle. And on the outside, that's the ugliest of all the colors. It's all the just dried porpoise skins or rare beaver skins or whatever it was. Wasn't the beauty that was within. On the outside, it just looked like a common tent. And that's a lot of what Jesus was about. When he came, he had no appearance that all of us would desire him. He just came. And the inside is what matters. It's kind of what God always tells us throughout the scripture. He told that to Samuel with choosing David. And of course, you have the holy place inside the tabernacle. You have the menorah, which is the 7-branch lights. There's only one light, and he is the light. Jesus is the light of the world. You have the table of showbread. He is the bread of life. You have the door. There's only one door in. That's through the eastern side of the tabernacle, where the sun would rise in the east and shine through. It's pretty cool, actually, you think about it. It talks about the architecture and how it was a place of fellowship. It's a temporary abode. We are here temporarily, and then someday we'll be with Jesus. It'll be awesome. Jesus, of course, was born in the wilderness, born in a manger, just like a tabernacle, out there, in the wilderness for, 35 years or so, right? Similar to Jesus. Again, unattractive outwardly. God's dwelling place between the cherubim, where God met with man in the tent of meeting, the center of Israel's camp. You have all of that. There's a lot of similarities between the temple and the tabernacle we get into later, which is interesting. The temporary dwelling versus permanent dwelling, the wilderness versus in Jerusalem, first coming versus second king coming, the tabernacles where the prophets were, temples where Jesus will reign as king. So that's pretty intense. I love just the different symbols throughout the Bible. Gold is more or less always divine glory. Silver is redemptive blood, brass is judgment, blue is the heavenlies, purple is royal majesty, scarlet is earthly glory, linen is holiness. All of these things are constant throughout Scripture, and you can find them. The whole Ark of the Covenant display, the mercy seat, the showbread, the golden lampstand, all of that is in here. All of it which points to Jesus. We'll continue to see that as it unfolds. So it's pretty interesting. Then you get into Thessalonians, and of course chapter 3 is all about just his final words to the people. Remember, Paul's letters were being forged. People were sending out letters pretending to be from Paul. So it's not unusual for him at the end of the letter to say, he writes the same way in all of his letters, because he signs it. He may have a person writing it for him while he pens it, or while he dictates it. Someone else is writing it down, and then he, one way or the other, signs it, just like we do a signature on a line. That's very common practice. But there was definitely forgeries going around, so it was important for him to make sure that we understood that we had a blessed hope Jesus is going to return, that we understood the end times, at least in the sense of his eventual rulership over the world and the day of the Lord. All of that stuff is in here. And it's important for us to understand our goal is to work. Working is a privilege and a responsibility. It's not okay just to steal or to borrow off of somebody else all the time. We have the obligation as Christians, as believers, to work with our hands, to work with the God-given talents that we have been given. And that's what we are going to do, and give them back to Him while we have them. See, He's given us all sorts of talents, and we give those back to Him. It's God-given talent, and it's borrowed. It's on loan. It's on loan. It's God-given talent on loan. We all have it. No matter what it is He has chosen to do with us. So, tomorrow we jump into, I believe, Exodus 27 and 28, and Philemon, chapter 1. So that'll be fun. So Philemon, it's only one chapter. Alright, thank you, my friends.